This is the Daily Dispatch podcast with your business correspondent, Ted Keenan.
Today, Dispatch Live is talking to
Dr. Trisha Moodley, Lancet Laboratory pathologist in East London at the Royal Buffalo Specialist Hospital.
Sandile Sihlaba, Group Chief Marketing Officer from Johannesburg Head Office.
Lancet has opened a new branch in East London. Dr. Moodley, why East London?
Well, we saw a need
To what end?
to assist the community basically because the community has been deprived of other options.
Before we move on to what the company offers, what it is, what it's done, you do community work. Won't you explain that to us, please?
Yes, Ted. I think part of the values of Lancet Laboratories and aligning to our motto, which is #LancetLabCares, we feel that the community that supports us deserves the same attention, even if they do not support us in the sense of affordability, to have exposure to 21st century top-of-the-range medical services. And this we allow or we enable by partnering with numerous NPOs that offer services to the community, whereby we go out and we test the community and we facilitate in this type of testing.
You set up in the Royal Buffalo Specialist Hospital, which is one of our new hospitals in East London, and strangely enough, we've now got 3 new hospitals in East London. What made you choose Royal Buffalo?
There was just an opportunity for us to enter the space, and they allowed us to open our lab in that space.
How does one move into your field, Doctor?
As a pathologist,
Yes.
it's a long road. Yes, 6 years of medical school, internship, community service, and then you're allowed to specialize.
And how long does a specialization take you?
5 years.
So it's training for pretty much a dozen years.
Most. Yes.
East London, the surrounding border area, and that has probably got the highest concentration of HIV/AIDS and TB. How does that impact on what you guys do?
Well, nationally and now locally, we're providing a service where we use a gene expert to diagnose TB. So it's a quick, rapid test, takes about 2 hours. The patient just brings us a sputum sample from the referring doctor, and we test it.
And we were talking about total employment. You now employ how many people?
So nationally within Lancet Laboratories, we have over 6,000 plus staff employed.
And you have a relationship with a French company. Is it pronounced Sihlaba?
Yes, correct. So Sihlaba Lancet Africa Sihlaba Lancet Africa is our entity that extends our services to the rest of the continent outside the borders of South Africa.
Right up to Egypt, or is it mainly southern Africa?
So we have a footprint under Sihlaba, under SADC, as well as Northwest and East Africa.
And how does that add to South Africa from a financial point of view?
So the two entities are separate, but I believe from a skill set point of view and a resource point of view, it enables top of the range and first class medical services to the entire African continent.
This is perhaps a slightly unfair question because neither of you are that old, but the company is 60 years old. What has changed in the profession, to your mind, over those 60 years?
The technology, yes, that's the massive change. It's made testing much easier and getting more quality, better quality results to the doctors quickly. Yeah.
And your client, if I understood this correctly, they are the doctors.
Yes.
And how does that communication system work through back to the patient?
So when we have got a test result back from the testing that we do, it gets fed to the doctor via SMS, email, even calling when there's an urgent result that needs to be found out to them, so they can act urgently on it. And in that way, they'll be able to manage the patient better. Yeah.
They say that anybody that's not doing continuous learning is falling behind. What sort of continuous learning is involved with pathology?
Well, we strive to host CPD meetings with doctors. During COVID, we did many online CPD meetings just to keep everybody educated and also everybody active as well, because it was a very difficult time during COVID. But now we're trying to move back to hosting in-person CPD meetings, and I think people are longing for that, just to interact with their colleagues. And yeah, so it's a long time coming, I think.
I think you're absolutely correct. You know, 3 years ago, people might moan, "Oh, we've got to go into the office today."
Yeah.
Now we're really grateful that we can go into an office. What are the careers available from entry level right up to your status in your field? I'm talking right down to cleaners and that sort of thing.
Yes.
What other careers are available? Or perhaps this is a good question for you because you've got to employ them.
Yes, thank you, Ted. So we offer employment opportunities for all levels in terms of the workforce, as you mentioned, from the basic entry level, which could be our cleaning staff, our courier staff. Courier in the sense these are drivers, if I can put it across simply, to our maintenance staff, and then moving up the level to our administration or support staff, our professional staff in the sense, be it in finance, all the support departments, marketing, customer service, logistics, and then moving up to our skilled staff, which you could call our technical staff, working in the lab, to our nursing staff, and then to our pathologists. And if I can share that, we are quite proud that we have a wealth of pathologists, as Dr. Moodley mentioned, over 100 pathologists in our employ. And this enables us to also contribute in terms of the skill set towards South Africa in offering expert guidance and assistance like we did with the recent pandemic, COVID pandemic, in terms of our pathologists that were part of the advisory committee to the state and the Department of Health.
With the advent of so much virtual stuff going on, is it possible for you chaps in East London to take a sample, and if you're not 100% convinced that you don't need a second opinion, how does one go about getting a second opinion? Do you have a core of pathologists working at the head office that you can bounce stuff off?
Yes, we do. Yes. I'm not an island, basically. I have a team of people that I consult when, that the need is there.
From distance?
Yes, so it's telephonically on Teams. It's actually, technology has made things very much easier to communicate with everybody,
The aspect of change within your organization, if you had a crystal ball with you today, what would you suspect will change over the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, I think the most important change is that we want to see growth in the community, firstly, especially in Eastern Cape, because there is a need. And then from that, we'd like to see everybody working together as a company as a whole. Yeah.
Would a company like Lancet ever move to also being a curing hospital or curing company? By that I mean, you know what's wrong. Would there be a stage where you could say, listen, you need to take X, Y, and Z to get better? Or will that never be your field?
No, we only involved in diagnostics. So the diagnostic element is there to assist the doctors to make that decision. But we do provide interpretation of the results that we give the doctors. That's important.
So a great relationship with the doctors is essential.
Essential.
And what is next step as far as development goes at Lancet? New offices, new premises, new hospitals?
So, Ted, I think the plan is, as Dr. Moodley mentioned, Royal Buffalo Specialist Hospital is a start for us in East London. We have a footprint as well in Umtata that spans to about 8 years plus. And we plan on just continuously providing services to the greater Eastern Cape and more footprint in terms of depots and labs and branches throughout the Eastern Cape to contribute to better healthcare for the community.
We sit with a massive rural area in Eastern Cape. We have we have the largest population, and we have a widespread population. How does one reach that population? Do you have to work through government clinics, perhaps? What is the way into there?
So our approach, similar to other provinces that have a similar structure as the Eastern Cape with the rural areas, Ted, our strategic alliances, as mentioned, with the NPOs, allows us to do that, to reach out to the communities via mobile clinics and just facilitate and ensure that people that are in the outlying areas also get exposed to the fabulous services. But our strategic alliances in terms of the NPOs that we collaborate with allow us to do that.
As a guess, people with HIV, TB, in a massive population like this, how many of them are being treated? How many of them just think they perhaps have a bad cold or flu, etc.?
Yeah, that's challenging. I think the government sector has a huge challenge with that. Yeah, it's difficult to follow our patients in the rural areas. Just to deploy people to go house to house to make sure that the patients are taking their medication, following them up, having them come back to clinics. It's a massive challenge, and I think we can try and contribute from our side, definitely, as much as we can. Yeah.
So collaboration with the clinics, etc., is essential. Thank you both for your time. Thank you for talking to Dispatch Live, and good luck with the Royal Buffalo crowd.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted.